It was amazing. Just about everybody on the platform began to shout and praise God, and we all were weeping and praising God. It was just amazing. 2013, went with Brother Martin on the Ethiopian Crusade missionary trip. I'd heard all the testimonies of Brother Martin of how the Lord would move mightily in the services there. And when I got there, everything was as true as he said. The Spirit of God moved mightily in each service that we were there. The first night we were there, the message was going on, and we noticed in the very front, right at the front of the platform, there was a man being carried in on a makeshift stretcher that they had made out of sugar cane that they had tied together. And as they brought him there, they laid him down, and we kind of asked if we could get down and pray, and they said, sure, go right ahead. And we went down, and several of the ministers that was with us got down and prayed, and we were believing God for the Lord to just raise him up right then. And there was an interpreter that come down with us, and he was telling him his situation, and he had been there for several months, something 7 to 8, 9 months, something of that nature, had been injured or something, and couldn't walk, hadn't been able to walk in over 7 months, and we just prayed and believed God, but he never did get up, but I never stopped believing. And that night we had all gathered back at our rooms or place there, and we began to. Well, we went to sleep. It was hard to go to sleep that night because all of the things that we seen that night were just ringing through our minds. And but I finally went to sleep, and around 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m., something like that in the morning, the Lord woke us up, or woke me up. And as he woke me up, that one man on the stretcher there was on my mind, and I couldn't get him off my mind, and it was a burden that raised up in my heart. So I began to pray, began to seek God, and lifting that man up in prayer, and prayed, and I prayed, and finally felt the burden lift, and I fell back to sleep. And the next morning we wake up, and we all gather out in the little courtyard out in the center of the hotel there, and one by one people would come out and would say the most amazing thing happened to them in the middle of the night around 2 to 2:30 a.m. and begin to tell the same story that had happened to me. And we all shared our testimonies of that and what had happened. And as far as I know, everybody that was there had the same experience. And that night we come to service, and the power of God was moving, and they prayed for people to be healed. And as they prayed for people to be healed, all of a sudden we noticed in the back of the crowd, there was probably 20,000, 30,000 people there, and the back of the crowd just started to roar. It was a loud cheer and a loud roar began to go over in this direction, and it drew my attention, and I kept looking to where they were running to. And over to the side, I noticed something frailing up in the air, just going up and down, and I couldn't really make out what it was because it was on the other side of that soccer field. And as it got closer, I noticed that it was some material that was just flopping in the wind, but the crowd was opening up, and about that time, the crowd opened up to the front of the crowd, and it was just like the sea parted, the Red Sea parted, and there comes this man walking out that we had prayed for the night before that hadn't took a step in over 7 months. And these men were just jumping and shouting and praising God all around him, carrying that makeshift stretcher. And it was amazing. Just about everybody on the platform began to shout and praise God, and we all were weeping and praising God. It was just amazing. And the man walked up on platform, and they got his testimony.
He could not walk at all. You see his bed on the stage. This man came tonight on this bed. He had to be carried to this meeting. But Jesus healed him tonight. Hallelujah!
And he walked back and forth as they were carrying the makeshift stretcher, and they got his testimony, and that was one of the most miraculous things that I'd ever seen in my life. And I can tell you that giving in this mission, you're not giving to false ministry. It is absolutely 100% what they say it is. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've been there, and I know for a fact that sowing into this ministry is a blessing from that you'll receive, and they'll receive. Thousands of people receive the gospel of Jesus Christ through this ministry, and sowing into it, you will be blessed. And I would highly encourage each and every one to give into this ministry, and I thank you very much for the opportunity to speak and give you this little testimony of what I've seen.
Yes,